Awesome.
So for
Cool.
those who don't know, this is a group that's the extension of the Facebook group. The Facebook group, the Online Marketers Unite, which the name will change soon. I'll be putting out a post for all the name change ideas. But these mastermind calls have been super, super successful, and people are loving them, not only because we get huge insights from people like Johann, but what I highly encourage is for everyone on here to connect with each other. And the idea of the group, the reason why it's been so successful and so engaging is because everyone's starting to connect with one another and do something that Johann's a big fan of, and that's organizing joint ventures, collaborations, and building long-term relationships that people can do business for, and really just come from a place of abundance of giving. So they're the three sort of areas: is contribution, connection, and collaboration is really the main part of the group. So when we jump on calls like this, it's super important that you guys add Johann to your business network. A little bit of a backstory for those who didn't see the post. Everyone compliments me on how much I connect people and how much I just come from abundance and how much I contribute. And they ask me where my skills come from and where my passion comes from. It basically started with Johann. I connected with him earlier this year and saw that he was just coming from such an abundant place and so generous and so kind. And I'm like, people need to know about this guy. So everyone that I couldn't help that were basically, looking for something that outside my realm of expertise, I kept sending them to Johann, and that's basically where my connection journey started. And he was loving it. The people who were connecting with him were loving it, and that's what I sort of thought in my mind. I'm like, this is an empowering way to be able to connect people, add value, and just really start to build my own network. And so that's really the premise of the Facebook group, and that's why people are getting so much value, because they're using those skills. So that all started with Johann and how much he impacted me, and how much he just continues to give from generosity. So not only his business acumen, but also the place he comes from is so inspiring. So what I thought I'd do is just allow him to introduce himself, and then we'll rock and roll with some awesome content that's going to give you the tools and strategies, not only for the mindset piece, but also practical tips and tricks that you can add and implement into your business that's going to get you to the next level. Is there anything I missed, Johann, that you can that can describe how we got to know each other?
Oh, well, that's eye-opening. I thought you were always a super connector. I didn't know that it started with us connecting. That's hilarious. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to know. Thank you, and thank you for the acknowledgement.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to hear, well, everyone here to know more about you and your story. But this is your show. However you would like to run it, then that's how we'll roll with it.
Awesome. Well, I love interaction. You'll have to excuse my voice. It's hay fever season. I seem to have a little tickle in my throat, so I'm going to be drinking a lot of water. And there's a lawnmower guy mowing the lawns. So you can hear a buzzing. That's him. Cool. So where shall I start, Tyson? Where do you want me to start? Because I sent you a list of everything that I wanted to talk about, and you said we would be here for 8 hours.
Yeah, exactly. He basically sent me a list of his top 10, and I'm like, man, all of those are just huge topics. One thing that everyone in the group has been messaging me for, and one thing that has that I've really started to coach a lot more in groups. I'm coaching a group at the moment, and one thing they're really having major breakthroughs in are the stories they overcome and the patterns they overcome. And I know you're a very big believer in shifting your mindset to start your entrepreneurial journey and just open and expand an area of what's possible. I was wondering if not only if you could give us a little bit of a background about your business, how it started, where it is now, but also the stories in which you had to challenge and the internal shifts you had to make in order to create those external results.
Perfect. Great starting point. So I'm going to give you guys a quick timeline and a quick history. So 2004, doing my PhD, Melbourne University, climate change and secondary biofuels. That was what I was studying, and that's what my PhD was in. So disclaimer, you're listening to a trained agricultural scientist about business, right? So 2004, that happened. And pretty soon I learned that agriculture was never, ever going to be able to pay for the lifestyle that I had envisioned. It all happened. We were on a conference. We were sitting on a yacht for this conference. And I said to one of the, the senior scientists, I said, hey, I can't wait to, buy my yacht. And he goes, on a scientist's salary, you're never, ever going to earn that. I went, what? Okay. Anyway, so that triggered something. Then a couple of weeks later, it was a Friday night, 11 o'clock at night. I'm sitting in my lab watching water move through soil, measuring the roots, boring as hell. And my supervisor comes in and he goes, hey, Johann, you're doing a great job at, keep this up and in 10 years, you'll be at my level. I said, 10 years at your level, freaking amazing. He travels the world, keynote speaks, writes books, everything. I went, I want to be just like you. And then I made the mistake of asking him, how much money do you make? And then he told me the number and my jaw was on the floor. I looked like Goofy, Now, and my whole world got destroyed because there was, at his age, at his position, the amount of money he was making was slightly higher than what I was making working a retail job, right? So that gives you an indication of what income he was on. So now my entire world is blown apart, and I did what any sensible person would do. I went to Google and I typed in make money online. So went to Google, make money online, and I found this eBay course. I did this little eBay thing, and then soon I built 6 eBay stores, and this is over 6 months. And in that time, I made more money than he did on autopilot. So in 4 hours a week, I would make more money than he did in his entire year, over 6 months. And so soon people started thinking I was a little drug dealer because I'm meant to be on a $20,000 scholarship at this university. Yet I'm at the pub, I'm shouting at everybody, I'm paying for everybody's meals, all this sort of thing. So I learned the power of leverage and systems. I had systems working for me while I was doing what I enjoyed. So that's a bit of background as to a transition from, hey, my brain, I don't want to be an employee. I want to become a business owner. But what did I end up doing? I ended up becoming a self-employed person rather than a business owner. So for you guys who are listening, Robert Kiyosaki's quadrant, cash flow quadrant, ESBI. So I spent the next couple of years going from, being an S and being a great S. I didn't know that I was an S. I always thought I was a business owner. So I built an affiliate marketing business where we did, we used to sell all the tickets for Ticket Tech. We'd advertise all over the internet. People would click, they'd buy, we'd get paid. By the way, Tyson, we're talking to online marketers, so I'm going to skip through how all that works because I assume that they know how this works. But if you don't know how it works, please pull me up and I will explain it further. After affiliate marketing came CPA marketing, cost per acquisition. So we were doing lead generation for the banks, Westpac, ANZ, Commonwealth. Every time you went to Google and typed in Commonwealth Bank credit card application, my ad would be at the top there. You'd click on it, you'd fill it out, we'd get paid. So again, this is another system. There was 800 searches every month. I was paying $6 a click on Google. Now stay with me, $6 a click on Google for every click. Out of every 10 people, I'd have one person sign up. I would get paid $200, and the bank would pay the network that I was advertising through $300. So anyway, so the network was making $100. I was making $200. It cost me 6 times 10, $60. So on for every $60 I spent, I was making 140. Multiply that by a good share of the 1,800, and that's how CPA works. So that's just one keyword. You all know how Google Ads work. So how many different keywords do we have? So now CPA has evolved. I hired a yacht, and I don't know, most of you guys might know David. I went on David's yacht. We became really good friends. He told me about his friend who was running an event at the Eureka Tower. And he said, my friend has set up this event. He spent months, figuring out his agenda and everything, but he's got no people coming to this event. He goes, can you help him? I said, yes, I can. So I sit down, I have a meeting with this guy. It was a business event. And he told me all his problems about how he doesn't know how to do lead generation, but he spent all his time setting up this event. So I sit down, I set up a campaign. And then we meet a week later and we open up the laptop. And on the laptop, we see CEO, director, CEO, director, CEO, director. These are the people who've registered. And the guy goes, this is freaking brilliant. How the hell did you get all these CEOs and directors here? What else do you want other than the money? I said, please give me 15 minutes to talk. Now, this is 2009, so 10 years ago. So I'm standing there, I'm talking in front of this group of 80 CEOs and directors, and that's where I met this other guy. I think, John, you and I might have connected around that time too. Talking to this guy, and he goes, hey, Johann, you've got all this great technical knowledge in your brain, but let me show you how to build a business. So he rocks up to my house, and I go, cool, let's see what happens. Rocks up to my house the next day with his table and his laptop, and he goes, let's start building a business. I went, oh, holy shit, this guy's 60 years old, retired, and he just wants to build a business and have some fun. I go, all right. So over 6 months, we build the digital agency. So we built a real digital agency, real as in, we have staff and everything like that. We went to 15 outsourcers. We had 40 projects on the go. It was massive growth in that first 6 months. I was going through, I think, a bottle of Southern Comfort every day just to keep my brain from over exploding, because I was managing the outsourcers, I was managing the employees, I was managing the staff, I was managing the projects, everybody. And so it was a crazy, getting thrown into the deep end in the digital marketing world. So from that, now 10 years later, the business still exists. And we now employ 92 people. So the business feeds 92 families. We have 12 project managers in Australia. 3 or 4 years ago, around that time, I hired a GM. The GM is a young guy, and he loves the digital space. My passion for the digital space is not so much anymore, because I see a bigger vision for what I want to do. So that's what's happening there. So the digital agency still runs to this day. Is that noise bothering you, by the way? Can you hear me, Tyson? Because the lawnmower guy's like just outside the room.
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah, awesome. I can still hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. Cool. So digital agency, it's up and running, it's working, and it runs without me now. So one of the biggest things to take away from my eBay days is systems and leverage. Make sure that when you build a business so that it's working and running without you. So this is me going from E to S to now being a business owner. Business runs by itself. I do not need to be in the business. Most people do not have that distinction, or they don't realize. I didn't realize until I met my wife that I was self-employed and I wasn't a business owner. I always thought I was a business owner. We'll get into those stories later. So 2012, we built, I moved into Freshwater Place in the city. When I moved in, they said it's the best building in Melbourne. I said, oh, cool, awesome. Except every day I keep getting a piece of paper under my door saying, hey, your windows are getting cleaned, your carpets are getting cleaned. I'm like, what the hell? 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. So I pick up this piece of paper and it's just got one sentence on there. By the end of the month, I've got an inch thick of paper sitting on my desk. And I've gone, okay, this is interesting. I took that inch thick of paper, went to the building manager, and I said, well, what's going on here? Why do I have this paper, and how much is it costing me? He said, it's $1 per sheet. There's 500 apartments in that building, $1 per sheet, 2 times a day. That's $1,000 a day, 365 days, $365,000 problem. So I said to him, I go, why don't we build an app for the building to just send out push notifications telling me that my windows are getting cleaned? He said, that sounds interesting. I don't know what that means, but you look like a software guy. Can you build a building management system? I said, yes, we can. So he gave me a scope of works. Over 6 months, we went to Dubai, looked at all their systems, came back here, reverse engineered it, and we presented it to them. They loved it. And he goes, you're on a roll. Tell them about your app idea. So I tell them about my app idea, and they go, we'll have that too. I'm walking out the building, and he goes, hey, wait up. I've got 30 other buildings we can put this into. Do you want to become business partners? So guys, the lesson here is joint ventures allow you to scale rapidly. I had a product. He had a distribution channel. So from there, we partnered up. 2 years later, he goes, hey, I'm retiring. We've gone, retiring? We've just kind of started this business. He goes, yeah, I've bought my farm. I've got my river. I'm going to go fishing every day. I'm done. I was like, okay, cool. So I took over the business and I go, hey, universe, please give me somebody who can sell these things for me, because I'm not a guy who's going to walk around the buildings trying and selling the stuff. I get a phone call from these guys and they go, hey, Johann, we're going to, excuse me, tickle in the throat. Hey, Johann, we've been watching your company and we've been trying to copy you for the last 2 years. We can't. What's it going to take to buy you out or partner with you? I said, well, funnily enough, I'm ready for partnership. Let's sit down and talk. So we sit down, we talk, and they talk about how they want to build a tool. Now you're talking about mind shifts, Tyson. I could not imagine what $100 million looks like. And they said they wanted to build $100 million company. Now, my mind was exploding, and I was like, no, these for real? Are these guys for real? They sound like they're full of shit. Well, that's my initial reaction, because that was my limiting beliefs, right? Because I couldn't see how we could turn this into a $100 million company. So I said, okay, give me some of your past credentials. So one of the past deals that they did, they took a $6 million company out from Denno. And most of you guys would probably use this brand. It's called SUKIN, Sukin. It was $6 million when they took it over. 4 years later, it's worth $700 million. They exit at this point, and now it's worth on the stock exchange $1.2 billion. So I said, holy shit. So 100 million, 1.2 billion. You guys know what you're talking about. So we started on the venture. Now, 4 years later, we're at 20 million. And in the next 3 years, we'll get to 100 million. Now, this takes me 2 days of my time. In fact, just this week now, it's gone down to half a day of my time a week, because I've leveraged and systemized the entire business. So from there, so a lot of different mind shifts happening throughout this journey. When we started the digital agency 10 years ago, we were selling websites for $500. We sell websites now for $50,000. There's a huge difference. Again, a lot of different mind shifts had to happen in order for us to be able to do that. Any questions so far, Tyson?
Yes. So, well, I thought I'd basically summarize what I'm hearing, not only to allow you to take a drink of water, but also I think it's super important to, when I'm hearing this story, and that I've heard in the past as well, is that people recognize that Johann's mind's towards opportunity, right? A lot of people are stuck in the story of limitation. I've been there in the past, and at some level we all have a limited story, but what this is explaining is that the mindset shift was first. It's like, okay, now that I see what's possible, and now that I'm being challenged about what's possible, now your mind's starting to think about, okay, how can I make it possible? What are the opportunities, and how do I make this happen? Whether it be through relationships, whether it be through systems, whether it be through the level you can get to, or the level of income you can make, that's where it would go. Because I can see how a lot of people could think about getting those pamphlets of saying, okay, my carpet's being cleaned, and saying, man, that's a big problem. And then they think someone should do something about that, rather than what can I do about that? Where's the opportunity? And same about with the relationships you're building. It's sort of similar. That, man, these guys are huge. Most people would think, oh, I'm not at that level yet, right? But you're thinking, how can I get there? Are they bullshit? Are they bullshitting me? Or is this something that is actually real that I can jump in on them with and just explode my mind with what's possible? And so everything you're focused towards seems to be around what's possible, where's the opportunity, and how can I expand my own mind? Is that would that be accurate?
Right. I quite often say I'm a bumblebee, and we all know the analogy of a bumblebee. A bumblebee's got little wings, and it shouldn't be able to fly. I'm a dude who's never written a line of code in my life, and I have an agency that builds platforms for the government, and we build apps all day long. Yet, if you talk to somebody, they go, how can you be qualified? I'm like, well, I'm a qualified scientist. I replicate results.
Yeah. I think that's the best thing. You see, you're finding ways in which this can be possible. Because a lot of people here are looking at that next level in their business, and they're thinking, okay, I know I need to get there. And then in their head, they have these stories around limitation, these stories around, it's not me, this isn't who I am, stars aren't aligned yet, I don't have the right sign, I don't have the right systems in place, I'm not too sure, there's so much uncertainty, so much doubt. But what you're looking for is how this can be possible, right? And so that's something many people can take away here. What's your next level, right? What's your next thing? And you may be looking at the person that's going to help you get there, right? You may be looking at Johann thinking, oh my God, he's such huge success. He's doing this. And your mind says, I'm not there yet, right? I'll contact Johann later. But you may have the answer to your next level right here, right now. And it's just a matter of, are you going to listen to that opportunity or not? So maybe just something people to resonate with, but more than happy to continue with your story.
So just on the point that you just made, I've had the privilege to talk to a lot of rich people, wealthy people, successful people, and a lot of poor people. Now, when I talk about rich, successful, wealthy, I'm talking about mindset. And when I'm talking about poor, I'm talking about mindset. So the difference between a wealthy person and a poor person, I'll give you the distinction right now. I've got a couple of friends. I used to have a couple of friends. They're no longer in my life. They'd say, I've got a great idea. It's going to make $1 million. But I can't tell you because you might copy it. I've got enough ideas to last me a lifetime. But okay, if that's what you believe. Now, you go back a year later. Hey, how's that idea going? Oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. You know, we just had a kid and blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to do it next year. Next year comes. Hey, how are you going? Yeah, you know, we're about to, oh, no, actually, the time's passed. Uber copied me. That was my idea. That kind of stuff, right? And then you talk to a rich person, and the first time, in the first 5 or 10 minutes that you meet them, you know what they do? They tell you all of their ideas. They tell you everything that they're involved with. You know why? They have no scarcity. They have an abundance mindset. And the reason they tell you everything is because they, subconsciously, they hope that you know something that'll help them get to where they want to go. So whenever I meet anybody, I tell them all my plans of world domination, because the more I tell people about what I'm going to do or what I want to do, the more people will go, actually, I know who you need to talk to, and they'll connect me to the right people. And through that, I get this more amazing network of amazing people coming into my life every day. And people going, hey, so-and-so told me about what you want to do. This is how I can help you. So that's the difference between a rich mentality and poor mentality. Make sense?
Totally. And this is something people get hung up on when they're communicating with me. I'm like you, I love connecting, and the group we have here are exactly the same, right? They're exactly the same. I think 24 people wanted to signed up for this call, and 19 people are on. So they love getting out there, communicating, collaborating, and doing calls like this. So the idea is, in your head, what Johann's saying, are you scared to share your ideas, or do you have the abundance mentality? Because the more you put it out to people, the more you share it. And like me, everyone comments on my passion about what I do. They're like, man, that's crazy. And then what you're saying is that opens up opportunities for the partnerships and the connections and everything that can come from that when you share it with everyone. Is that right?
Completely agree. Yes, definitely.
That's amazing. And that's sort of exactly what happened with the Facebook group, right? The reason why it's blowing up, I just put everything out there and let people connect themselves and organize that type of value. So while you're connecting with everyone, this is something you can do, is share with them your ideas, share with them your passions from a place of abundance, right? From a place of abundance. Because even if they steal your idea, they can't steal you. One thing that I have highly encouraged people to think about is that you are not your idea. Don't get excited about your idea, get excited about you, because you're the one that came up with the idea. You're the source of the ideas. And if you're so abundant about your ideas, you can come up with them all day, every day. But if you're so scarce about one idea and think that is you, then that's going to control your mindset and control, how you operate in the world. But if you realize that you're the source of all those ideas and you just give them out freely, then those ideas will continue to come.
For sure. There's a book, I think it's Malcolm Gladwell. He talks about outliers, and that at any one point in time, I don't know if this is from the book or somewhere in my brain, when you have an idea, there's 1,000 ideas that have happened. That exact idea has gone out to 1,000 different people. And it's the person who implements it the first who wins, if you consider it a win, a race. But the person who implements it quickest can win, like the app idea. Anybody could have done that. We have the technology. Apps have been around since 2007. We now dominate the marketplace. It's become like people ordering a pizza. You know, we get phone calls every day. Hey, I want an app, and this is the blah 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 blah. This is what I want. Get it done for me. And yeah, you know, the more you talk about it, the more you get it out there. Hey, Perrin, how are you? Awesome. Hey, we've got some questions in here. Do we want to answer those, Tyson? And guys, I do have self-inflicted ADD, so if I'm getting distracted, just bring me back on track, Tyson.
That's okay. I'll kick you off the Zoom call if you get too distracted. Yeah, so Lewis, so many opportunities. How do you decide what to focus on? Everyone's got so many opportunities these days with so many different technologies, systems, everything in place, so many people they can reach out to. That's a good question, because a lot of people here are growing their businesses online. They're trying to get more and more traction. They're trying to build those partnerships. Would there be any advice you could give us on how do you focus on what opportunities are the best?
The opportunity that you should only focus on, well, actually, how do I put this? Make sure your foundations are set and your foundations are right. If you don't have the right foundations, you cannot capitalize on every opportunity. I have a digital agency, which I can build anything and everything now. That's the skill sets that we have in the team. And so when I have an idea, for example, I watched Minority Report, this is 5 years ago, and I loved the billboards which scanned his face and then presented an ad to him. I got my team to build that for us. But I could do that opportunity. And then we went to ANZ Bank and all these other things. And, you know, it led on to more opportunities. But what I'm saying is focus on your foundations first. Financially, you need to be secure. Without secure financials, then you can go and play and take on other opportunities. What happens to most people, and I'm talking about 99.9% of entrepreneurs, not employees, they start doing one thing. They might start doing YouTube. And then they go, oh, actually, there's this TikTok. I'm going to go to TikTok. Oh, I'm going to go to Snapchat. I'm going to do, that's not the right order, but you know what I'm saying. They keep jumping around with shiny object syndrome. And they don't actually complete anything. If you look at anything that's in your to-do list over the last 6 months or a year, you have most of the stuff 50, 70% finished. Complete it, finish it. Finish one opportunity, get it set up, get all the systems in place, get all the procedures in place, replace yourself with that opportunity, then move to the next opportunity. You cannot do, you know, you have one glass of water. There's only so much of you that you can pour into each opportunity. If you have 3 opportunities, you're already spread thin with 3 different things, plus your family, plus your friends, plus your relationships, plus your spirituality, plus your health, all those things. You're already spread too thin as it is. Don't take on more opportunities than you can focus on, because it dilutes you and dilutes you as a person and dilutes the impact that you will have in the end. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's a key piece, right? It's jumping in one opportunity, giving that all your focus until you can not only complete it, but when you optimize that and maybe you can systematize it so it no longer requires you, that's when you can move on to the next one. Is that right?
That's right.
Cool.
John's put a question here. What's the balance between systems and leverage and people and connection? So systems and leverage is one of the most important things you have to build into any and every business. And the people and connection is what makes it happen. It's the fuel into the business. The fuel is people and connection. The systems and leverage is the engine. So you have to work on both parts. You need to have good quality fuel coming through and have those connections with those people, because the higher quality people you're meeting, the more output you're going to get in the end. And the better your engine. If your business, like when I talk to businesses, and let's talk about cars, because I know, John, you like cars. If you have a 2-stroke engine, which is a very, very basic business, which is where you're working in the business, as opposed to having a fusion engine, you know, let's say a hybrid engine or whatever engine you can picture. The more you build that engine and focus on that engine, the more powerful it is. And therefore, every bit of fuel that you put into that engine, the more output you get. Make sense?
That's good. It's a good analogy. And we got Corinne got a question here as well.
Corinne, apologies. What's the number one system we need to implement right now? Well, everybody's business is different. The first thing you need to work on is replacing yourself in the business. There's a huge wave coming, and that wave is of the baby boomers. None of them can replace themselves or know how to replace themselves. And they don't know how to systemize their business. If you can systemize any business, I'd help the baby boomers systemize their businesses, because they don't have a retirement that they can go to right now, because they are the business. Yeah. So anyway, in terms of systems, replace yourself. Everything that you do, if you're making enough money to replace yourself, focus on that. That's what I had to do. All the income that was coming in, I had to pay when I started off my agency to this other guy so that he could run the business, so I could go and find more opportunities that were bigger deals, bigger opportunities, which would bring in more business. I found myself working in the business, therefore becoming the person. Therefore, the business could not grow. The more I continued to replace myself in every role that I was doing, the more the business could scale exponentially.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So is there any specific advice? So someone's growing their online business, someone's working in their business at the moment, they don't have a team yet, they're trying to get more clients, more engagement, they're just really trying to get going. This seems to be more of a mindset shift in terms of their focus. So, okay, how can I start gaining more income to then replace myself? Is there anything specifically you'd give as a piece of advice if they are just still trying to gain some traction, and how they can sort of implement this type of philosophy in their life?
Yeah, sure. Let me share something with you. Let me know when you can see this.
We can.
Awesome. So every person I ever talk to, they want to build an empire. And so you're all here because you want to expand your mind. You want to figure out different ways. You want to create new possibilities. That's why you're connected to Tyson. My expansion of my mind was going from, $1 million business to $100 million business. I couldn't imagine what that looked like. So once you imagine, so you need to spend time. You're talking about that solopreneur, that person who's by themselves. How did they build, grow, and scale their business exponentially? They want to build a team, etc. This is exactly how you do it. So spend time on designing your life. So when I talk about expanding your mind, I don't think most people give themselves time to sit down and imagine anymore. Everything that you can imagine, you can create, right? So when you create that ideal life that you always pictured, then it can become a reality. So create a new reality. So expand your mind. Then you establish a mission. All of you guys have clients. How many different clients do you serve? How many types of product types do you serve? How many services? How many price points do you have? When we started off, we had price points from $500, those websites that I was talking about, to $20,000. Now, how many times does 500 go into 20,000? How many clients do we have to serve at the $500 range? And how many clients do we have to serve at the $20,000 range? So one $20,000 client to deal with was amazing. I don't know, what's probably $10,500 clients divided by two, $5,500 clients, right? So we don't have that brain space, so $500 clients. So what I'm saying is pick that 80-20 rule that we all know about, Pareto's rule. 80% of your income comes from 20% of your clients. And focus on those 20% of clients because they get the most value from you. They're the people who love you, who will do what you tell them to do. They're the ones who are coachable. They're the ones who listen to you. They're the ones who go, holy shit, the stuff you gave me worked, and I'm so glad that you did. And then you've got the exact opposite of that spectrum. People who go, yeah, I listened to your stuff. Oh, no, I only listened to half of it. Oh, no, I'll do it later. All those people, get rid of all of them because they only drain your life. They don't add value to you or your business. They're not going to turn into raving fans. So once you establish your mission and identify exactly who you're going to serve, the next step you need to do is you need to focus on your message. So your brand is your message. What is that message that you're putting out there? We've got people who, I'll give you an example. This one guy, he focuses on training elite athletes. He's a personal trainer who rebranded himself as an elite athlete trainer. He charges 4 people 10 grand a month to train them. They're very happy to pay that because they get sponsorships, etc., that are way more value to them. They're happy to pay him 10 grand a month. He used to train 200 people a month. Now he's down to 4 people a month. So his brand, his message showed the people exactly who he wanted to attract. Now that then only attracted the right people to his brand. So it's very important to design your brand around the people that you want to serve. So once that's done, so these are the foundations of your business. If you don't, and this is generally done by yourself or with your business partner. If you haven't done this, you need to do it. And that expand your mind part, it should be around your life, not your business. So most people build their businesses and then their whole focus is on their business. What do they sacrifice in return? They sacrifice their health, their family, their time with their kids, all these things. But if you focus on your ideal life and then you build your business to serve that life, then you have a really good and ideal life, because the business is built to serve you, not you to serve the business. Huge distinction. I wish I learned it 10 years ago, right? Excuse me. So once we design our brand, now we have all of our foundations. Then you need to design your presence, your online presence, how you show up. Everything needs to reflect who you are and how you do what you do. So create your presence, your online material, your offline material, your brochures, your ads, everything needs to reflect exactly who you are and what you do to attract those ideal clients. Then we need to leverage technology. Leveraging technology was the turning point in my business. The reason being, I could now replicate my top sales guys. I could replicate the top salespeople. I said, hey, there's got to be a system here. Why is this guy closing 10 deals a month and this guy's closing 2? Let's get this guy on video. We videoed this guy, sent it out to our ideal clients because we knew the message that we had, right? Now that video is doing all the work for us. How many times can we share the video around to our ideal clients? And there's many ways to market that video out to our ideal clients. Guess what happens? In order to access that video, which adds a lot of value to our ideal client, they have to enter in their details. So now they're trading their details, right? And they're our ideal clients. So all the marketing, all the messages is focused on them to, hey, take that next step. When they take that next step, what happens? They come into our CRM. So customer relationship management. For those of you who don't know, there's a lot of them out there. We use Infusionsoft, or Keep as it's now called. It's the backbone of the business. Why? Because it automates so many of our tasks. 95% of our tasks is all done via automation. So that's why we've got a robot there. The robot is working for us 24/7, 365 days, and automation is a key. So now we know how to leverage technology. What do you focus on next? Hey, fixing up that engine, right, that we spoke of. Turning the 2-stroke into a 4-stroke or into a V6. Let's compound the sales. The person's already out there, they're ready to buy from you. How can you increase the value of the sale? Now we know that there's only 3 ways to increase the size of a business. 1, get more clients, which we can do through marketing. 2, increase the transaction value, which is what we're doing here. Or 3, increase the frequency. This is Jay Abraham's techniques. So now we're compounding the sale. What does that do? It takes the stress away from the client because they know that you're serving them not only for the month, but if you have plans for them, hey, I'm Tyson, I'm going to be working with you for 6 months. And if you're not committed to me for 6 months, if you're not actually committed to you for 6 months, I'm not going to take you as a client. Here's some past testimonials of my clients who've done the 6-month program. What does that do? It gives you predictable cash flow. It gives you, certainty. It gives them transformation. At the end of the day, what are people buying from you? They don't actually care about you or your services. They want a transformation. Anybody who sells anything, all you're selling is a transformation. So that's compound your sales. I'm going to stop there, take any questions that you guys have.
I think that'll be super beneficial for anyone, right? It doesn't matter what level you're at, to get this stuff in place is super key, because not only can you set the platform, but you can also, once you have the platform set, you now know which level to go to. You now know where your area of focus, because a lot of the questions here around what do I focus on and how do I use all of this? And this, I think you guys can sort of start to see the similarities between Johann's story of his success and the steps he's outlined here, right? So to getting everything right, when you expand your mind, then you can start to focus on, okay, what does my life need to be like? What's my mission? What's my purpose? Everything like that, right? And you can start to ask yourself those questions first so that you can set that platform. And then you can start to really produce what you just said here. And that's exactly the steps necessary so that you can lay the platform, remove yourself, create a lot of the different, use the systems that are in place so that you can start to focus more on the expansion. You can focus more on replacing yourself, more on impacting your clients at a different level. And you can use all of that, all of the systems and all this type of leverage in place. What a lot of people do is they get stuck in the, what do I do next? Johann's got a step-by-step process here. So you can sort of see where you're at and where your next, journey is on the steps, and you can start to implement these as well. So you can start to ask yourself the key questions. Do we have any questions about this, guys? I think everyone's good. Okay, Lewis has said, if you go into a new business where you don't have lots of history, that's directly related to the new business. Apart from showing yourself in the right light, how would you get past the fact that you have no existing case studies? So when you don't have the case studies, when you don't have the proven track record in the past, what would you recommend, Johann?
So we go into this quite a lot when we want to break into a new industry. And what we do is we prove that our system is more powerful than the case studies. We do this by giving them results in advance. So giving people results in advance, they go, holy shit, this works. So for example, a couple of weeks ago, we wanted to onboard a new client. This is $1 billion client. Now they have the best agencies servicing them, but I wanted them as a client. So I got my team to run a test. And then every time those guys, their phone rang, it said, you're receiving a new lead from my alliance. Are you ready to accept? Yes. D. And so they get a lead. Now their sales guy calls up the management team and goes, what the hell is this? Why are we getting these leads from this company? And then I send them an email going, hey guys, just so you know, we did a 3-day test. We've sent you highly qualified leads who are ready to spend, $300,000 to $500,000. It's a property deal. And are you ready to, have a discussion so that I can show you how our lead generation system is better than your current, whatever you have? They went, hell yeah, come in. And we went in there and we closed them. So results in advance, very important.
And I think that shifts your focus to, okay, how can I be better? How can I show that this is getting results? A lot of people say, well, I don't have many results for people. This challenges you to say, okay, use your resourcefulness to show them results ahead of time. Or use your resourcefulness and your internal creativity and your inspiration, your passion to create results for them ahead of time so that they can see first of hand what that will do for them. And then they get that, they get that rush of saying, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's already helped me. So that puts the agenda on everyone to think about that. How can I get them results ahead of time? How can I improve my internal resourcefulness? How can I improve my product or services in some way, and be resourceful in showing them how that would happen, right?
Exactly. Awesome.
Perfect. So what's the next phase once you've compounded your sales? Once you started to implement all those systems and leverage technologies, what's the next steps?
Perfect. So the first 3 you do generally by yourself and with your partner. The next 3 you have to do with your team. So your team has to be involved with every one of those. Now, the next stage, scaling your business, guess what's happened over here? You have now removed yourself from the business. You no longer work in the business. So if you had to just focus on getting these 6 steps in place and then you would be removed from the business, would you do it? The answer is most likely yes. So now we're going to show you how to scale the business. Scaling the business is everything to do with if you want to franchise, if you want to, grow and go into different regions, all of those things. So we're going to scale the business. This allows you to then hire 50 people or onboard 50 new clients. So we're just right now in the middle of an acquisition. So we're doing a merger and acquisition with another digital agency. We're onboarding 400 of their clients. We've met their first client last week. They're an $88 million client, $1 million a year business, of which it's worth a lot to this digital agency, and that's now our contract. So the only reason we can now buy other digital agencies is because we have all of our systems in place. So now we can scale our business. We can go to them, anyway, I'm not going to give more examples. Scaling a business, you know how it works. Amplify your tribe. Now, this is a problem that most entrepreneurs do. So the reason why this is a problem is because they try to amplify their tribe before they have anything else set up. They go to, hey, I've expanded my mind. I know exactly who I'm going to serve. I've got my brand. I've got my website. I'm going to go talk on podcasts. I'm going to go talk to, write newspaper articles. I'm going to do all this stuff. And they go into amplifying their tribe. But what happens is their day gets taken up with doing interviews, talking to people, meeting other people who they can potentially joint venture with. But because they don't have any of these systems in place, they screw it up because they can't leverage what they've just, the relationship that they just created. So amplifying your tribe comes after this. Make sure you have that in place. This is all to do with joint ventures and public relations. So this is where you input, you utilize, you leverage public relations, you leverage your joint ventures. Now, this is how that other company that I spoke about at the start, they could go from 6 million to 700 million because they could leverage the joint ventures that they had. Another company that we know of, they've just done a deal with a pharmacy in the UK, a pharmacy brand. They have 2,500 pharmacies. They have their product. They're now getting this one product distributed through 2,500 pharmacies in the UK. They're amplifying their tribe. They have everything else. They've scaled their business, and now they can grow rapidly. So amplifying your tribe. Then you become the dominant player in your industry. And there's a myriad of ways of doing this. You can do licensing deals. You can do mergers, acquisitions. So in my SaaS company, what we did was we started buying up all the other complementary businesses because we got access to their databases now, and then we could take them back to compound your sales. We'd upsell, downsell, cross-sell them. So how do you become the dominant player in your industry? Now, once you've done this, the last step is to build your empire. Most people think that this is the first step. So building your empire, everybody's empire is different. It's whatever it is to you. To me, building an empire meant we were going to buy more companies. We were going to have cash flow in the business, that we never have to worry about it. Then we were going to build charities and foundations. That's our next 3 to 5 year plan. Why do we take the money and put it into charities and foundations? Because you control the money. That's how Bill Gates and everybody else does it. These are the secrets of the wealthy, right? If you build your, and I'm sure John can talk about this for hours on end, business owners are more efficient at spending money than the government. So if you learn how to utilize that money that you've built, that you work so hard for, and then leverage it to go build schools, build whatever you need to build with your foundations, you're adding more value to the marketplace and the world. So that's building your empire. Cool. So any questions around that, guys?
I think one thing that's the biggest takeaway is doing everything in order. Doing everything in order so that you not only set the platform, but so that you can optimize and so that you can really, get the most use out of the last steps if you already have the previous steps in place.
Exactly.
So people in their heads on this call are probably thinking, okay, this is what I need to do next. This is where I need to work on. This is, this is how I'm going to, when I do start leveraging technology or building my tribe or whatever it may be, you can use the previous steps in helping you capitalize on that. So I think does anyone have any questions? This is, I'm getting a lot of notes here. I'm taking a lot of notes. There's, if anyone has any questions, feel free to type in the chat box. One thing that people love doing from these calls also is, like I explained before, is connecting with one another. So one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a post about this call, and so that you guys can not only connect with Johann, but connect with everyone else in this group who's learning this stuff, and organize your own collaborations, joint ventures, or even if you have any ideas on the first steps for each other, you can start connecting with one another. And so what I'd love to do is have everyone basically comment on the post and say what your biggest takeaway was, and then you'll be able to see who was on the call and start reaching out to them and start to connect and leverage your networks. But then you can even ask yourself the questions of, okay, how can I expand my mind here? Maybe you can help each other with that, or even some of the other steps that are that you're up to, is to just use that help and use that, you know, that little bit of a mastermind type of feel in helping with these steps. But this is super powerful. Is there anything else you want to end on, Johann, that people need to know about, that you know they must know if they are to be successful in growing an online business?
There's, as you said, I can talk for the next 8 hours if you wish, but I don't want to overwhelm people. So let's leave it there, unless you have a couple of quick finishing questions.
Okay, great. Well, I just posted in the Facebook group, so if everyone can, if people can comment on there, let us know your biggest takeaway, and then you can all start connecting. That would be really powerful. I think Leanne's got one here. Prinas, what's the number one system you need to implement right now? So what's the, when you're talking about systems, I'm pretty sure you highlighted that it really depends on the type of business you're at, right? And I know Leanne, she's got a small team. As you said, she's got a small team, but she also runs her business on LinkedIn and helping people create a presence on LinkedIn and do some lead generation. If people are on social media and they're growing on social media and they're doing things like lead generation, doing their own type of online business to help others grow and scale, is there anything that you know they need to implement in terms of a system?
So, so to Leanne, how many people do you talk to on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, just roughly? Do you want to get her on video, Tyson?
If she's able to, she could even just unmute herself if she's in the environment to do so.
Hi guys, sorry.
There we go.
Busy working. Basically anywhere from probably 200 to 300. I actually have a small digital agency, so I do like similar sort of websites and that sort of thing. Yep. And I run a couple of networking groups, so anywhere from probably 200 to 300. Yep. And I'm in that space at the moment where I've got my team. Yep. But getting to that stage where I can really remove myself, because I'm finding that a lot of the time is overseeing, double checking, and then doing the sales process as well, and the onboarding of clients.
Wow! So you do the quality assurance, you do the sales process, you do the onboarding, you do the customer relationship. The only thing you don't do is build the websites. Is that what you do?
Well, yeah, I do actually get in, and if there's a bit of a problem, I'll jump in and do that as well. So I really need to take a big step back. But yeah.
I was in that exact same position. The best thing that I did was to get a GM. How I got it, well, funnily enough, how I got my GM was he did work experience with me. And after doing work experience with me for 6 months, he went back and he quit his uni degree. and then his dad said, I don't know what you did, but he quit his uni degree. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, what? Why? He's like, because he just realized that, you know, his uni degree was not taking him anywhere. He wants to come work with you. I'm like, but I didn't tell him I was going to have a job. Anyway, now, you know, we're 4 years in. He's my GM and he does everything that you talked about. He does the QA, he does the onboarding, he makes sure the clients are happy, all of those things. The sales process, we have dedicated salespeople who do that. We have dedicated channels. We have 36 agencies who feed our agency work. We are a white label agency. So all those agencies feed us work all the time. So our sales processes and everything are optimized, and we create all the material for them so that they can go sell for us. Well, they sell for themselves and make a very healthy commission, and they make a healthy profit. And then from that, it keeps all of our machines going. By machines, I mean the people who are working. And I'm not calling them machines.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
but having that, and then do you have a CRM that you're working with?
I'm working with Kartra.
Cool. So, yeah, cool. Kartra's okay, but yeah, cool, awesome. As long as you're collecting those 300 leads a month, because every one of those guys, you need to segregate them into different, they all have different needs. So you need to segregate them into people who will just want the Facebook ads, the people who just want the LinkedIn stuff, the people who need websites, and take them on different journeys so that you can then have them in your pipeline so that when you're ready. So the reason I went about Kartra is because it doesn't have lead scoring. So
Right.
in the system we use, which is Infusionsoft, every time they're clicking on different things and reading different things, it keeps bumping them up and saying, hey, this person's now a lead score of 3 or 5. They're really hot and they're ready to go. Call them. And so when our sales guys call them, they go, oh, funnily enough, yeah, I'm ready to have a website, or I'm ready for Google Ads, or I'm ready for Facebook, or whatever it is.
Right. Okay.
So Kartra is more of a learning management system, deliver your courses, that kind of stuff, as opposed to a full-blown CRM. That I know.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Okay, cool. So looking at your wheel, I'm sort of looking at the leverage technology at the moment.
Yes. If you've got to create presence, design your brand. So are you working with the ideal clients at the moment?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So leverage technology, very important.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, you too. It's exciting to see where the opportunities can go too. So
it's limitless. It's amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. I'll mute myself again.
Anybody else, Tyson?
Well, I just want to highlight, this is the important piece of reaching out and asking these questions, is just to recognize where the opportunities are. A lot of people who are here are like, okay, I'm still stuck. I don't know where to go, what to do. Reach out and ask, because then you can explain your unique situation and you can gain someone else's, knowledge and their ideas and their creativity for where you can move next. And so having a conversation like Leanne and Johann just did, clearly you can see that there's an expanded opportunity here, and more excitedness sort of feel for it, because once you have that conversation, you know exactly that you have different ideas and you have different expansion. So that's super powerful. I don't think we have any other questions.
I'd like to answer Sean Morris's question.
Yeah, Sean's saying, I'm a nutrition coach, trying to wrap my head around removing myself. I have group coaching and internet classes.
So Sean, I'd like to challenge you on that. We've never met before. This is the first sentence I've read about you. But the reason I'm challenging you on the fact that you're a nutrition coach is, actually, can you get on video? Let's have a chat. If possible.
I think she's a little shy.
Okay, no problem. So I'll tell you a story. Yeah. Railroad industry.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to get it unmuted. It was
Welcome.
So Sean, the railroad industry in the late 1800s was owned by 4 major railroads, railroad companies. Mr. Ford had just developed 700 trucks at that point in time, and he went to them and said, hey, why don't you buy my trucks? Now you can do shipping via rail and by road. And they said, hey, you peasant with your 700 trucks, we don't need you. Now, in this day and age, it's a $600 billion industry. Those guys who were running all the shipping around the USA, they thought that they were in the railroad industry, but in fact, they're in the transportation industry. If they saw it that way, the entire business would change, and they would have bought that Mr. Ford, for pennies on the dollar. Now back to my digital agency. When we started off, we were selling websites for $500, but we weren't actually selling websites. All was freedom, because we were building machines which were generating leads for everybody, which was educating their ideal clients, which then spat out people who would love to talk to them. And therefore, the people who woke up in the morning, who were our clients, all they had to do was pick up the phone, look at their calendar, answer the phone, and talk to the ideal clients and close the deals. Therefore, we built freedom machines. So you can see how that created a distinction between us and every other web developer there was. And everything was automated, etc. So I don't think that you're a nutrition coach. I think you're a lifestyle coach. You get me. If you and I had a conversation, you would tell me about what to eat, how to exercise, and how to get my body into peak performance. Is that right?
Well, actually, first I'd be looking at your medical history and finding out if you have any actual problems that we need to solve.
Yep.
And I went into it because I went from being wheelchair bound and an extremely out of control diabetic to my diabetes is completely reversed, and my RA is in remission, and I kickbox every day.
That's awesome.
So I'm really in the I'm in the getting your life back business.
Excuse me. So when you say you're a nutrition coach, that puts you into a box. When you say I can take anybody and turn them around, whether it be through nutrition, through everything else that you do, because you have to have a big mindset shift there, saying I can.
Yes.
So you do, I assume, will work with their mindset, work with their physical body, and show them.
Yes.
So therefore, you're not just a nutrition coach, you're much more. And when you define yourself as much more than a nutrition coach, then you can open up more conversations. And by you saying, hey, Johann, you're a CEO, you run 3 companies, I'm sure your stress levels must be through the roof. How is how are you spending time on your body? Are you spending time with your family? Are you at your peak performance at this point in time? I'll probably say no. But then you can say, well, how would you like to be?
Yes.
What does that look like if you were? And I don't know if Nan is on here. Nan, you can talk about your transformation from, a nutritionist into a peak performance coach who now only works with CEOs. Why? Because she's identified that those are her ideal clients. So she can help a CEO get back to their peak performance because she can then help them close more deals. At the end of the day, why are they working so hard? Because they need to close more deals. But if she increases her productivity by 20%, guess what happens? They can close more deals faster at better prices. Therefore, they can spend more time with their family. They can spend more time on their health. So you're more than a nutrition coach.
Definitely, I can. When you were talking about how to present the offers, it was like things were clicking. Okay, definitely got to change how I'm doing that.
Awesome. And we can talk more inside Tyson's group as well. So happy to help.
All right,
That's
thank
powerful.
you.
It also comes back to what you talked about before, is what you're selling is the transformation. And then once you recognize what that transformation creates, it's so much more bigger than the product. It's so much more bigger than the service. It's a completely different shift in their lifestyle, in their, in their overall life situation. And so if you can really understand that, then that's a huge piece. And so that's a good question. It's like, what industry are you in, right? What industry? It can be so much more than what your mind can see at the moment. So what else do we have here? We got Sherry.
I do have to run, Tyson. I'm 7 minutes late for my next appointment.
That's okay, cool.
Okay if we talk about this in the group?
Yeah, I've already put I've put the post up. I've said for everyone to share their biggest takeaways, but happy to continue the conversation in there, guys. If you can help us out by commenting on there, and then Johann can answer your questions, and that would be super cool.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me. And guys, I love serving. So, anything I can help with, I'm here to help.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Johann. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Take care. If you guys wanted to jump on in the Facebook group and put that in, then that would be awesome. I think it's a super cool place, and there's a lot of people on here who are keen to collaborate, keen to join, keen to connect. Like I said, if you don't know how to connect with someone, just ask them that power question. You connect with them, you say, who can I send your way that's an ideal client or a key source of collaboration? And that's exactly what I did with Johann when we started this earlier this year. That's the exact question I asked him, and then I started sending him people that he can help, people that he can collaborate with, people he can form joint ventures with, and then everyone I connected him with, then it just builds my network, right? And builds my network to the point where now the Facebook group is almost about 800 people, and everyone loves connecting, everyone loves joining, everyone loves organizing those collaborations. So if you can connect with people on this call and the people that are in here, you can start to build your network by doing that. So Alexander, yeah, the power question is, who can I send your way that's an ideal client or a key source of collaboration, right? So it's the reason why this is so powerful is because it's you're not selling anything. You don't need anything from them, but the power in which they create as a connection adds so much value from very little of effort on your behalf, right? You don't do any of the work. You just connect people, but then they also attribute you to that amount of value, right? And so my challenge to a lot of people is to say, look, 3 to 5 people this week, just reach out and ask them that question. Who can I send your way? That would be an ideal client for you or a key source of collaboration. And so I ask that all day, every day to so many people who I connect with. And then I just connect them with a bunch of different people. They create awesome value together. And they attribute that to my network and to the value that I give. And therefore, I build my network and build my my tribe, so that people can know where to find me and they know where to refer me as well. So that's super powerful. So I look forward to your comments in the on the post in the group, which is the Online Marketers Unite group. And if you this is the post here. If you guys can type in your comments, just let Johann, first of all, thank him. We didn't get the opportunity, but in the post, just thank him in the comments and say, awesome job. He comes with so much abundance, so much contribution, and it's so cool to see. So if you can just thank him on the post and let us know your biggest takeaway, that would be a huge help. Do you guys have any other questions at all before we wrap up? I'm thinking about having another call next week, so we're going to do one straight up, same time, same day next week. I've got a pretty cool guest that's going to help a lot of you guys as well. So if you're keen to join that one, reach out, and I'll comment in the group next week on all the details. So keep an eye out. But it seems like everyone's got their questions answered. Thanks so much, guys. It's so cool to see so many of you jumping on these calls and getting the immense benefit from it. If you want to reach out and ask me any questions, feel free to do so. I'll upload this recording on YouTube so you guys can catch it out there. But thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. And you guys are doing so well. So take care now. Bye-bye.